We are born into a sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information, into the illusion of chaos, fear, and confusion, which creates and inflates our ego, our somebodyness, which perpetuates the thinking mind, the cycles of thought, which has us thinking we're somebody doing something. It has us thinking we are in control, has us thinking we know, right? All suffering assumes control, right? Fear, guilt, shame, regret, sin, judgment, all these things assume control. And as long as we think we're somebody doing something and we think we're in control, remember, there is no control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. What happens when we stop thinking? What happens when we stop thinking long enough to become the observer? Stand in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. We observe our nature running off. Not only do we observe our nature running off, we observe everyone else's nature running off and everything else's nature running off, and we realize any single one of us can only act based off of our chemistry and conditioning, nature running off. So there goes judgment, right? Because judgment assumes control. If you're judging yourself or anyone else for something, you're assuming they're in control. But remember, there is no control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. Stop thinking and end all of your problems. Thinking is the cause of all suffering. Again, not my words. The words of someone much wiser than myself. So thinking is, this is all the cycle, the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information, and the illusion of chaos, fear, and confusion. All the stories being told, no matter what it is, no matter how interesting it is, aliens, underground cities, giants, anything you can imagine going on, right? Is the earth flat or a globe? And all these are, when you boil it down, are just stories being told to stimulate the cycles of thought. So you think you're somebody doing something, and you think you're in control, and you think you know, which takes away our true common sense. Because you cannot stand in the center of the circle, right, if you have attachments and biases. You cannot have true common sense if you're attached or biased, which happens when you think you're somebody doing something, right? When you're standing in the center of the circle and allowing all things to take their course, the present moment, surrendering to God, allowing the divine to work through you, when you do that, you have true common sense because you have no attachments or biases, right? And you are thoughtless. You've given it all up. That's coming back to the whole. Because remember, the cycles of thought, our somebodyness, creates separation. We're identifying with the actor, the doer, the ego. And this creates separation and the illusion because we create attachments because we think we're in control, right? We think we're somebody doing something. We think things are happening to us. We create these attachments which keep us in lower limiting perspectives, which makes us easier to control and manipulate by the controllers who think they're in control, but really just nature running off. We're all just nature running off. So no matter how you spin it, my friends, let me take a drink of my hydrogen water. Been thinking about getting off water soon. Once I start eating more juicy fruits. How do you get off water? You eat more juicy fruits. Because remember, the highest form of water, structured water, H3O2, is in fruits. That's the best way to eat, and it's electrified living water. So if you can fill your body with that as opposed to water, which is just watering down the acids basically. Anyway, where was I? Stand in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. Such a profound wisdom, right? Become the observer. Realize that we're all just nature running off. You've never made a mistake in your life. You cannot. You've never made a wrong decision. There's only divine timing. There's no timing but divine timing. There's no other time than now, the present moment. All our cosmic beloved is waiting for is our undivided attention. This is how we become our higher self. This is how we free the world. We can spin lots of different problems in the illusion to ourselves and to others. Like, how do we fix this issue? This issue of perceived power and control, right? It doesn't matter, because all there is just another story being told. If we want to free the world, we have to free ourselves. As above, so below. How do we free ourselves? Surrender. Give it all up. That's all there is to do nothing. But when we're caught up in the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information, we stimulate, we perpetuate the cycles of thought. And this has us thinking we're somebody doing something. This attaches us. We're identifying with the doer, the actor. Right? Everybody thinks there's somebody doing something. They think they're in control. I'm doing something, buddy. I love that. That was a comment someone gave me. Hey, buddy, I'm doing something. I just thought it was so funny. That's so funny. We think we're somebody doing something. Keyword, think. We think we're in control. The greatest devotion to God is giving up control. The illusion of control. Giving up thought, which is the hardest thing to do, because that is our ego. Remember, the ego is the guard at the gate to the divine. The ego is throwing that banging house party with all them thoughts just raving up in there, and the divine's knocking at the door. The divine's knocking at the door, but your higher self can't hear it because the ego's throwing a bumping house party, right? As soon as we cut the thoughts, the ego goes bye-bye, no more house party. When we stop thinking, we're detaching from our identification with the ego, with the somebodyness, which causes separation, right? The attachment to our somebodyness causes separation from the whole, because the whole, the one with our infinite creator, is in the present moment, is complete surrender. Because that is how we allow the divine to work through us. That is how we become our higher self. That is how we free the world. That's how we free ourselves and free the world, is stop taking in information so you can calm the mind, facilitate a state of peace, purify, calm the body at all times. This doesn't mean surrender a little bit here and there. Well, that's how the game works, right? We're evolving our abilities to surrender more and more. But it means that we don't have to worry about a thing ever, or think. We just always surrender. Just keep surrendering. That's the name of the game. There's nothing to do but to do nothing. Keep giving it all up, my friends. All the stimulation, all the attachments, all the stories. Right? They're all just stories that are just buzzing you. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just buzzing you. Always come back to presence and just observe it. That's all there is to do. Whatever you are doing or not doing, right? You think you're somebody doing something. You're attached to the actor. You think you're the doer. Stop thinking. What happens? There goes control. There goes all my attachments to the past or future. There goes all my judgment. There goes all my thinking, oh, why did I do this? Why did they do that? No. No matter how anybody's acting, ourselves included, we can just observe it and say, that's interesting. That's my nature running off. That's my chemistry and conditioning. What about this video? You're not somebody making this video? No, this is just my nature running off. This is my chemistry and conditioning is here with you making this video. And consciousness, right, is making this video. I'm just observing myself making this video, not thinking. Can you do that? If you can get to the point of observing yourself acting and talking and doing and not be attached to the doer, that's the observer. You've hit the nail on the head, my friend. Observing yourself talking and doing, but not being attached. It can be kind of euphoric in a way, because it's such a trip. Realizing your nature running off. This is a deeper understanding. This is a very difficult concept and perspective for a lot of people to grasp, because it requires a sort of deeper understanding. How do we gain a deeper understanding about this or about anything? We have to let it all go. You have to empty the mind. You have to create space to allow for the deeper understanding. You need to facilitate a better communication with the divine with God by emptying the mind, which means what? I have a video called Mind Bucket, Full Mind, Empty Mind, something like that. Where I talk about our minds are so full because we keep taking in stimulation and information, aggravating our mind, that we have no room, if we have no means of communication, a higher means of communication with the divine, which is a deeper understanding. So we have to stop taking information. We have to give up all the stories. We got to give them all up and realize we don't need any of this external stimulation, because coming back, it's all just going to stimulate the cycles of thought, which is going to have us in separation from the whole, right? It's going to have us thinking we're somebody doing something. We got to come back. All we got to do is come back to the whole, in the center of the circle, and allow all things to take their course. That's all you got to do. That's it. You can throw your to-do list out, right? Well, listen, your chemistry and your conditioning, your nature running off is going to do what it's going to do. You just observe it. That's all you got to do. No matter, you observing yourself doing your to-do list, right? I talk about not chasing money. Well, then, so I should quit my job? You're missing the point. That's not what I'm saying. You're going to observe yourself do whatever you're doing, including working. No matter what, your job doesn't matter, because anytime you're staying present is devotion to God. And that's the greatest thing you can do in any moment, no matter where you think you are, or on this level, that level. It doesn't matter. It's a devotion. Devoting our life to God is just being present. That's surrender. That's it. That's devoting our life to God, because that is the highest devotion of God. That is showing our eternal love for God, which is allowing God's eternal love to work through us, because we are God observing itself. This is how we break free from the illusion. This is how we free ourselves. This is how we free the world. We have to give up the very powerful sea of stimulation, aggravation, information, and the illusion of chaos, fear, and confusion. We have to give up all these stories being told to us. And because remember, the only thing to do is to do nothing. And we have to just do everything we got to do to stop thinking. Facilitate a state of peace, purify the body, reconstitute, empty the mind, which gives you space for a deeper understanding, a better connection with the divine, which is how you stay present more. And you purify the body at higher levels. Because if we're having trouble purifying the body, being balanced enough to be able to purify the body enough, we're taking in too much stimulation, because that's what causes imbalance. Remember, and there are no bad habits. They're merely things we do to cope with being out of balance. Other habits that people have trouble that they may perceive as bad, remember, there's no good or bad, but we're just, for the sake of labeling a bad habit, or habits that bring you more out of balance or in a lower vibration. These are just merely things we do to cope with being out of balance. So how do we come back in balance? It always comes back to presence. Presence and purification. The purification we can do with the amount of presence we are able to achieve, until we gain enough presence to gain a deeper enough understanding, which allows us to gain higher perspectives, which gets us out of the cycles of suffering. How do we escape the cycles of suffering? I have many videos on this. How to escape the cycles of suffering. Many, many videos. Very long videos as well. You got to stop thinking. Thinking is the cause of all suffering. Stop thinking and end all of your problems. Because remember, all suffering assumes control. And if you're thinking, you think you're somebody doing something, and you think you're in control, and you think you know. All suffering assumes control. You think you're attached to somebody doing something. But once you let that go, you're free from something. It's like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders, like, in the present moment. Guess what? How do you forgive? How do we forgive ourselves and others instantly? Giving it all up. So presence, it always comes back to presence. Because as long as you're in the present moment, you're not identifying with the ego, the doer. You don't think you're doing something. You don't think anybody else is doing something. You realize it's all just nature running off, chemistry and conditioning. And you're just observing it all. And that's how we become God's eternal love. I always say, I am God's eternal love pouring forth. That's what happens when you give it all up. That's your higher self. You become God's eternal, unconditional love pouring forth through your vessel, through your being. And that is how we ascend ourselves out of this cycle we're in, these cycles of suffering, and these cycles of incarnation on this particular plane. That's the name of the game. Show our undivided attention to our cosmic beloved. by giving up all the stimulation and aggravation and realizing the only thing we need to do to be in eternal union with our beloved is surrender, stay present. That's it. Stay present at any and every moment. And getting more and more comfortable in the presence of God. There's actually a book, I haven't read it yet, but I believe it's called Practicing the Presence of God. I've been meaning to take a look at it. But again, I don't really read much anymore because remember, not that I don't need to, I'm not saying I know, it's not about thinking I know more than anything. It's the opposite of that. It's I know I don't know anything. And the only connection that has been shown to me to be the most important to gain the deepest understanding is from our beloved, because that's all there is to do. But if the infinite creator slaps you in the face with something and you're like, whoa, Lord, this book came out of nowhere and I'm really resonating with what it's about. There you go. Use your divine intuition, right? That you're just observing yourself, even reading or learning. So it doesn't really matter what you're doing, right? But at the same time, you gotta let God guide you just by being present, and everything else will take care of itself. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.